All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. I had a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully, we can got that going now. We got a great show for you guys today here at G.W.R.
I can't
Always
see.
my dad, Tony Gonzalez, and also we're joined by wrestling super fan Marcus Fine. Can you hear us, Marcus?
I can hear you now. I can't get the. It says the camera's working, but I don't have it on my end.
Huh.
I can see myself down the corner.
He can hear us, but when his camera went up, he couldn't hear us.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
So I can see the one down in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be on the screen, but for some reason it's just black.
That's from you. Okay.
Is his
back.
camera, Chris?
What, Dad?
Good as like sometimes I know, like when we did it, I had to hit my camera again.
Yeah, that's what he's trying there.
Yeah, right. I'm clicking it.
Have you tried to go to the? Does it say settings?
Okay, let me try that.
Go to video. Maybe there's a background, maybe an overlay or something got virtual background or something got turned on. Try leaving and coming back on again like the last time. I got your video back.
All right, hang on, I'll be back.
Not sure. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but we'll get going. Once we get going, I've been looking forward to this interview for a while.
Yeah, I have too.
We see the fines at all the different wrestling shows we go to, so it's always a good time to get to talk to them.
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't know what's going on with the stuff, but once we get him back, we'll get right back to it.
Chris, what do you think? How WWE going to do that tonight with Ezekiel and?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that. I think that's going to be interesting.
Bully Ray said he's heard some rumors, and he said he wasn't going to spoil it for anybody.
There we go.
If they were cool. Hey, there we go.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. It took a minute, but we got it figured out. I don't know what it was, but it's working. But no, like we were saying, we've been looking forward to getting to talk to you for a long time. How'd you become a fan of pro wrestling?
Well, that's an actual interesting story. I'm actually a third generation wrestling fan. My grandparents, especially my grandmother, was huge Dick the Bruiser and Bobo Brazil fans, and then also my father was a big wrestling fan, still is. But I didn't actually get involved with wrestling through them. I actually got a thing here. I actually got involved with wrestling because of watching Rocky. And I became a wrestling fan in 1982, and that was before Rocky 3. Actually, Rocky 3 hit theaters Memorial Day weekend of 82. So Rocky 3 wasn't even out there yet. It was that, if you're familiar with the movie, in Rocky 1, he came this close to winning the world title. Yep. And in Rocky 2, he came this close to not winning the world title. Yep. And I like that in-ring fighting, good versus evil, and I wanted more. Well, there was no more. And I happened to be over at my grandmother's house one day, and of course she had Dick the Bruiser's WWA out of Indianapolis on the TV. And the first match I ever seen on TV was J.R. Hogg versus Rooster Griffin, and I was hooked ever since. It really exploded from there, because then after I got done watching that hour worth of TV, then I got the TV guide out, because you didn't have internet back then. We're talking 1982. And I just started scanning those, and the only thing on that time was Dick the Bruiser. But then about 6 months later, Vern Gagne started running on Saturdays. So I had Saturday wrestling, Sunday wrestling, and then it just exploded from there. So
Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah. Uh, do you have a favorite rivalry in professional wrestling? And that would be for either independents, or it could be both for independents or more of a big time.
okay, well, if you're gonna go rivalry, you can't. I love the Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair matches of '89. I mean, that whole summer of '89 was huge, and I know that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
but those were some awesome matches. I think those guys went all summer long doing hour shows. You don't see guys wrestling an hour now. It just doesn't happen. And those guys were back and forth. I did like Road Warriors, whoever they took on, because they're my favorite tag team
Yeah.
for the superstars. And of course, I was a Hulk Hogan mark, still am, but was really big time back in the '80s. And yeah, anytime he took on anybody, who you had Paul Orndorff, you had Andre, you had I don't know if I cared much for the Mr. T stuff, but the Roddy Piper stuff.
Yeah.
I was a fan before WrestleMania 1, and him and Piper were going at it big time in '84 and leading up to '85. And I love that. Anything with Four Horsemen in it, I mean, they dominated there forever. The original Four Horsemen. I mean, they had their nose into everybody's business. So I love that stuff. And
Yeah, the Horseman and Dusty Rhodes really sticks out to me because he feuded with pretty much all of them.
right,
Ric Flair, most of all Ric Flair, but of course Tully Blanchard also, and even Arn Anderson and in the tag teams. I mean, yeah, the Flair and the Horseman and the Rhodes thing was unbelievable.
yeah,
And
it was outstanding stuff.
when you mentioned the Steamboat and Flair thing, I don't know if they get enough credit for their matches, how good they were. I mean, they may be the best pure wrestling matches.
I agree. And
Maybe.
I like the Steamboat versus Macho Man at WrestleMania 3, but them Steamboat versus Flair matches in '89, they pretty much overshadowed that WrestleMania 3 match, and that was an outstanding match.
Yeah.
But that summer of '89 was just fantastic time to be an NWA fan.
Is there any feuds in the independent scene that stand out to you?
Well, we'll have to go back a few. Like I said, I'm a former bruiser. Bruiser versus Wojo, Bruiser versus anybody on the Saul Creechman group, Bobby Colt. I liked anything with Bruiser in it. I'm a big Bruiser mark, or was. Independence now, I guess you're looking at Dex and Juwan. You know, Blake's got that big feud going on in Warrior Pro, and there's a big feud going on at AACW. You guys seen last weekend. I mean, they're out there. There's all kinds of feuds out there, and I'm following them all. So
yeah, when I think Dick the Bruiser, and it's back even earlier than the '80s, I think the Valiant Brothers.
Yeah, I've seen, and it's funny when me and Chris talked when we had a day. I've been watching old school wrestling for the last week. You can ask my wife. She gets up. Kelly goes into the bedroom because she doesn't want to keep continuously watching that. But I had to get my mindset set up to bring back my past. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of that old stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
When did you start following the independent wrestling?
Well, Bruiser per se was independent wrestling, but not in '96. The Bad Boys of Wrestling came to Frankfurt. I went into the grocery store. There was a poster. I thought I died and went to heaven. Hey, wrestling's coming to town, literally, because that's 3 miles out to the armory. That's actually where I seen Shane Cosert the first time. He was still pretty much doing the business, and you didn't see a lot of independent stuff because I didn't know where it was at. I wish I had access because Diamond Dan ran PWI. He had shows running all the time, but I didn't know anything about them until like 5 years ago. That stuff was even running. 2001, they had a set of magazines come out called World of Wrestling, and it come out once a month. And the monthly one, the magazine, I mean, it was huge. And then they started doing bi-weekly, where they were running 2 magazines a month, and bi-weekly they had an independent spotlight. every month, every other week, and EWF Extreme Wrestling Federation in Marion ran shows every Saturday night. And once I seen that, I got the map out to see, well, how far away is Marion? And well, it was about an hour. I think it's an hour over there from where we're at. And so I called up the promoter. I mean, we were already figuring to go in, and I called him Jason Maples. That's who runs that. Hoosier. That's what he had before Hoosiers or Heroes and Legends come about. He ran the EWF out of an old movie theater there in Marion. It was, you go in, you sit in there like you're watching. There's the big screen. They got the ring right in front of it, and he ran shows every Saturday night. We did that a lot through the summer, and then he started running shows on Wednesday. So now he's got 2 shows running every week. And so Kelly and I, or Kelly and myself, or Kelly and I, or Kelly, myself and my son, or just me, twice a week was running back and forth to Marion. We did that from March until October. And then in October, we were driving past Reilly Brothers in Lafayette, which is a bar grill. They have a like an indoor volleyball field. There's a sign on the sign on the road sign, WCWO Wrestling, Friday night. That's how I got in with Basher and Juanita and Joey the Kid Owens. And that was in October of 01. And then I started splitting my time between the two. Then I guess in 2002 is when internet started happening. So every Saturday we'd go to the library. And then I found out there were shows literally happening everywhere. We started going to Greenfield to, it was called CIW Indy, Marty Fogelman. And he was running shows. So now I'm splitting my time with 3 of them. And in 03, Central Wrestling Federation came to Lafayette now, and it just started happening. I mean, the more I found out, the more we traveled. And I give kudos to Kelly. She's been there right with me the whole time. And in fact, since I don't drive anymore, if it wasn't for her, she's just as big a fan as I am.
Yeah.
Because if she didn't get me there, I wouldn't be there. So I give her a lot.
Marcus, fine. I have something for you next time I see you, Travis Pitt.
That probably will be the JICW event in August, I would think. Big country.
What's probably the most independent shows? I mean, and you may not have an exact number that you've seen in maybe a year's time.
Okay, in 2001 it was 62.
Man.
We did 30 last year, but as of last Saturday, we've already done 30 this year. Really? So this is going to be a big year for us. We did 35 in 2019. We did 30 last year. We only did 5 in 2020 because of COVID.
Yeah.
That really slowed us down. But yeah, we're already at 30 this year, and we're not even to the halfway point, really.
Yeah, that's true.
We're trying to beat that 62, but we love it. It's not. We're not going for the numbers. We're going for the thrill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we actually done some stuff with Maples back when he was doing the EWF.
Okay, was he at the theater or was he in the old garage? Because he moved from the theater to the old garage, there across from that factory, next to the Pizza King.
When we went, he was in a Chris. What's the name of that town?
Converse.
Okay, I've done the Converse gym. I've been to 3 or 4 shows there too. So it's funny because we've probably crossed paths before. That's what's weird.
We went to Converse and watched Brutus Beefcake was there.
Okay, I wasn't at that show.
I remember going. I think, but we went a couple times. I think, didn't we, Dad?
Went a couple times there.
Then
I remember the Beefcake.
We done an event here in Muncie. We're with the Maples at the community center out in a baseball field.
Okay, the last one I was at with Converse, they had the New Age Outlaws was at the building that night.
Yeah, he booked them here in Muncie, the New Age Outlaws. He was running some shows at the community center, and the Billy Gunn canceled on him, and of course Road Dogg came, and then they had another wrestler. I can't think of his name. Do you remember the wrestler's name? A little person. I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Wasn't Hornswoggle.
Was it POD? Was he a famous or an independent?
I think he was independent.
Okay, I know POD, Pissed Off Dwarf is one.
Yeah, he's
Hank Dalton.
can't
That's the
remember
only ones I can think of right now for
but
around
he
here.
worked a lot with Jason. They put on a great show. We had Jake the Snake Roberts there at one of the shows. Ashley had Snooka booked, and Snooka got sick and couldn't make it, so he brought in Jake the Snake Roberts to replace him.
Okay.
So they ran a few shows here in Muncie. Jason did.
Yeah, and Bruce, yeah, that's back when Congo Kong was
Yep.
Osiris.
Yep. I remember Osiris in the early days.
Yep.
He's actually slimmed down now compared to the way he is, but was back then. He's still a big man, but he's not as he's lost weight. We'll go that route. He's not.
And his hands are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I've known Osiris a while.
Yeah,
He was their champ for a while there at EWF. So.
Yeah, he wrestled this weekend here in Muncie.
Yep, I've seen that. I watched that.
Do you have a favorite heel and face in that's your favorite all time and big time wrestling, also independent?
Well, I love the Road Warriors. You put them however you want to put them. They were heels and they were faces. I like the Freebirds, same way, heels and faces. I was in NWO. I watched all that, and they were heels, but were they really? So, because they really brought in a lot, and Stone Cold, and I don't watch a lot of WWE. I don't watch any AEW. I mean, I might watch the pay-per-views, but
yeah.
And then independents, I got a whole list. I can't even begin to start where that starts at. Dice Man Ronnie Vegas is probably one of my favorites since the first day I seen him. I don't think he wrestles anymore. Vinny Vachetti. If you ask Vinny, I am his longest reigning fan. He will tell you that.
Yep.
I love Vinny. Everybody loves Vinny. They don't claim it. Itch. First time I ever seen Itch Weeder. I fell in love with him. Shane Mercer's a one for today. I love Shane Mercer. I've always seen him twice, but man, he's a beast. And of course, then I like Blake and Dex and Highlights and Rachel and Christian Cash, and I can go all around and tell you who I like where I'm at, but
yeah.
Speaking of Christian Cash,
yep, that's my buddy right there. I was happy to see him down at the Dub.
Yes,
yeah, Mike King. See, now it's funny. Mike King, he got in there. When Mike King first wrestled, I seen him at New Generation Wrestling in Burnettsville, and I think he was the tag team champion. I think with Hank Calhoun or somebody. He always wore his belt backwards. He had it around his waist, but the gold was on his butt, and the straps were in the front. And he'd always give me a hard time about taking pictures, and I owe so many people money for taking pictures because they'll see it and then they'll threaten me. And yeah, Mike King was one of those guys.
Not mine. Do you have a favorite era in wrestling like this?
Well, I like the 80s. The 80s and Saturday Night Main Events was outstanding. I mean, I've got all them actually on VHS tape. Can't play them now, but I do have them on VHS. I did like the 90s, the Attitude Era. I basically stopped really caring about wrestling once Vince bought WCW. And because then the storylines just got stupid. I mean, really. I am happy to say that I have seen 2 world champions take place. I was in Indianapolis when Taz showed up and beat Mike Awesome for the ECW title.
Okay.
And then I did see Stone Cold beat Kurt Angle for the WWF title on Raw. We was there that night, and that's been 21 years, and that's the last WWF show I go, WWE. I guess I am happy to say that I've been at least one show. I've been to an NWA show. I've been to an AWA show, ECW, WWE. I've been to all those. I've not been to a Ring of Honor, but
you did get to go to ECW, huh?
Oh yeah, that was there at the Murat Theater. I don't think that's what they call it now, in Indianapolis. And that was an accident because the Road Warriors and Public Enemy. You remember Public Enemy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge. Yep. They had this big billboard. Well, actually, it was like a reader board out on 52 in Lafayette. Pro Wrestling Road Warriors, Public Enemy. Call Ticketmaster. So I called Ticketmaster and said, okay, I'm needing tickets for this wrestling show in Indiana. Says, well, which one? Well, what else is running? Well, you got the one in Lafayette, and then you got ECW. I want tickets for both. So I didn't even know ECW was running. And the Road Warriors was on in April 13th, I think it was, and then a week later was ECW. We didn't know Taz was there because he was the surprise guy, and
Yeah.
crowd went ballistic when he showed up. And I got a picture somewhere with him holding that title up, but I couldn't tell you where it's at.
Because he was wrestling for WWE at the
Yeah,
time.
and Mike
Came
Awesome was a WCW guy. So yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah, but yeah, because I mean that's history, definitely. Yeah.
Yep, and I was
Travis
there. I'm proud of it.
Travis
Because I was
Pittman
a big
said,
ECW fan too. I love that. I'm not a death match. If you start bringing glass out, I don't care for glass, but I do like good hardcore. I mean, you can smack each other around with anything as long as it ain't a light tube or something.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's JICW in Martinsville. Most of their show is hardcore.
Is it?
Um, they have normal shows, but they have at least 3 matches. That's what they call street fights, and they bring out the weapons. And
Did you ever watch much of the older, because they've been around for 20 years, but Impact when Kurt Angle and some of them guys were there?
I've been watching Impacts on Pluto TV. They got their own channel, and I will let that run at times in the background when I'm doing stuff. But to watch it when it was live, no, not a lot of that. Well,
Travis,
except for when I found out Osiris is on, or Congo Kong, and then of course I had to go in and say, "Oh, Congo Kong, big TV." It's like,
Yeah.
he finally made it. It's like,
they had Impact had a pretty good show last night.
Yeah, we
It
watched
wasn't too
one.
bad.
Was
But
there-
Travis Pittman wanted to know who your favorite tag team in JICW is.
I suppose he's wanting us to tell me him and his tag team partner. You're going to get mad. Here you go, Chris. I like the Bulletproof Posse. They wrestle in Kokomo, of course.
Yep.
If you check my Facebook, I was lucky enough to get my picture with all of them.
Yep.
But Chris Chaos, and he's had a couple different partners down there in JICW. I love those guys. Funny story about Wiley. Can't think what his first name is. T.I. Wiley, T.J. Anyway, he manages Shorty P
Yeah.
at the
Yep.
Dub. We've known each other for 20 years and didn't even realize it. He used to do security at the Top Notch Wrestling shows. And we were talking at Warrior Pro a couple shows ago, and he was talking about PS 109. They ran in a school. And I said, "You was at PS 109?" He says, "I used to do security." I go, "That's how I know you." "Yeah, you did." It's like, and I guess I've been to a lot of shows Bruce McGorr's been to too, and we didn't realize it till we got to talking that he's traveled around India a lot, just as much as I had. So there you go, Bruce. There's your shout out. I've had all these people text me, "You need the shout out." So there you go.
Yeah, Bruce said Tobias S. Wiley.
I'll tell you, Wiley does real. I like Wiley's persona with the Bulletproof Posse more than I do with just Shorty P.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
think they need to bring the Posse to the Dub. I think they need to bring the Posse to Warrior Pro to take on Ruthless Domination, because that match never happened in Jeffersonville this past weekend like it was supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Bulletproof didn't make it down there, so the Ruthless Domination had to take on the Bruise Brothers. But I would love to see those guys in somewhere, that feud right there alone.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Bulletproof Posse also, especially the group that's going right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, those guys. Oh yeah, that storyline in Kokomo. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good show in Kokomo last weekend.
I
I
have
enjoyed
yet.
it.
Yeah, I have yet to be to a bad. I mean, them fans up there are something else.
Yeah.
You can have the world's worst match, but if you got the fans in on it, you got, and then you can have the world's best match and fans sitting there and whoopee. But
Yep.
yeah, those fans in Kokomo, they're
All the
they're
shows
wild.
we went to, that's some of the wildest fans we've seen. And it like you said, it makes the show even better.
You know, Muncie's that same way, right? Because I've only been to two CCW shows, but those guys, they are.
Yeah, Muncie gets loud as well.
Muncie does well too, but I tell you, I think overall, me and Chris has been doing this for probably still not a year yet, but I think Kokomo's fans are the in my opinion, I don't want to make nobody mad, but
Yeah.
are the best. I mean, like you said, I mean, as soon as the wrestlers start clapping their hands, everybody in that building are clapping their hands. They're behind. They're there to have a good time, smiles on their face, into it with the heels or for the baby faces. I
Well,
mean,
look, they did it with those rookie boys, those four guys that were
yeah,
the
Yeah.
trainees this year, and look at the pop those four guys got. It's like,
Oh yeah.
and the crowd give them almost a standing ovation for their effort.
yeah. Well,
And
Shane
not
was
the,
really happy with them too. I mean, he was. If you didn't watch him, I was watching him. He was on cloud nine with the way those guys did.
yep, yeah, I thought it was a good show.
Jerry Bird says, Marcus, tell us about them Rob Kincaid shows,
I can't tell
CCW.
you anything about Circle City Wrestling because I never could make it. They always ran it on nights that I had to be at work the next morning. But Rob Kincaid, rest in peace. That he gave me the name Indiana's number one wrestling fan. I used that for a long while. I don't use it now, but Rob Kincaid said that because I was showing up in places he was at, and yeah, Rob Kincaid was a good man. I miss him a lot. Met him at
Yeah,
one of Asher's shows at the
Mike
Ramada
King,
Inn.
Mike King said you're canceled again.
Yeah, I seen that because I said Coca-Cola got the best fans.
Yeah, because you brought up AACW.
Yeah,
Jessica Kavanaugh said, what wrestler are you most impressed with on the independent scene?
You know, Jessica's my daughter-in-law, by the way. My son come down to help me get the computer up. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
What wrestler are you most impressed with on the independent scene?
Well, I don't want to tick anybody off, but Shane Mercer right now, I mean, he picked Dale Patrick's up, pressed him over his head, and threw him across the ring. I mean, come on now. That Dale Patrick's is not a small guy.
no, he's
No.
not.
And that Shane Mercer there at Thunder Blunder 2, you guys was there for that. When he picked him up over his head and about threw him out of the ring on the other side. I mean, that was just outstanding. And I like Dex. Dex is going places. Of course, the highlight guys. I mean, you can't, and Rachel and all them. I mean, their talent is unbelievable.
I agree.
Yeah, I was glad to see Rachel win that match this weekend and get the keys to the city there in DCCW, where she gets a title shot anytime she wants it.
Right. Yeah, she's going places. Alice Crawley's another one.
Yes, Alice is
Yep.
one of my favorites.
Kelly and I seen Alice basically, I don't know if it was her debut match, but she was really green back in 2019. I mean, she needed help through the match. She has come so far. And Billy Stark, I've talked to Tony about this. We've seen her and her training. She did a lot of training at the Dub.
Yeah.
And there's my neighbor right there, right across the alley. Greg's. How's it going, Greg? Okay, I guess Jordan James is my favorite. I didn't know that, but anyway, Alice has come a long way. Look at Billy Stark. She's, I think, going to be a senior this year, and she's already been all over the country. That wasn't heard of when I was a senior in high school.
Yeah,
Wrestling was still behind locked doors. If you weren't on the inside, you didn't get on the inside. And there was no way that anybody was going to train anybody under the age of 18 back then. And for her to do what she's doing is, and Alice, I'm a fan of Alice. She's a good heel, but a sweetheart in general.
Yeah.
And Logan, she used to be Becky Idol, Logan Vatour. I mean, she's really good too.
yeah, I agree.
So those women, they're really doing well.
Billy will be signed as soon as she is legal to.
That's good to hear that.
Yeah, I bet she will be. I know AEW's already signed that kid that's like 16. I can't remember his first name, but it just wrestled in Game Changer yesterday. Something Wayne. I can't remember his first name. Maybe somebody out there can help me. But he's only like 16, and he's already signed with AEW. But he's not wrestling for AEW, but he's signed, and he's really good too.
Yeah. Charlie Cruel does pretty good. I think she was on a dark match with AEW.
Yep.
I think.
Tommy Gage, favorite independent tag team rivalry ever.
I guess he's wanting me to do something with Tommy Gage and Matt Valor, but I can't really tell you who the rivalry. Right now, it's if you're going to go for right now, it's anything that the black market's doing at Warrior Pro. I mean, that's the rivalry. They're like the four horsemen of the '80s. Everybody wants a piece of them guys right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you, the highlight reel and the Beaver Boys have got a pretty good.
Yeah, I love those. I love all four of those guys.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree.
I'm a
Agree.
fan of both those teams. And this old school Itch and TJ and Benny,
Yep.
that's going. I mean, you're looking at. I've seen all them guys 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's good to see them all. It'd be interesting to see where they go with that.
Yeah.
Bruce McGorr said, how about Aaron Atlas?
Aaron Atlas. Yeah, he does all right. I've not seen much of his work. He's kind of been out of it since Logan got hurt. Or I think they live down in Mississippi or Alabama. I know they
Yeah.
wrestle for like a place called Wrestle South. But yeah, Aaron Atlas is good.
Yeah, I know Logan's back wrestling.
So
Mike King, Section 8 versus Drop Dead Sexy, me and Hank.
there you go. Section 8's Tommy Gage and Matt Valor, and then you're talking Mike King and Hank Calhoun. Yep, there you go. NGW at the Dub, or not the Dub, Burnetsville, the Beehive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite moments? Not necessarily matches, but like moments, segments, stuff like that, in independence or in in the NWA or.
Well, I'll give you my all-time favorite. It has yet to be beat. It was only the third time I ever seen live wrestling. It was at the Tyndall Armory in Indy. That used to be the hotbed for Bruiser stuff. That's where he did his TV tapings in Indy a lot in the years I watched him. And he was taking on the Great Wojo, and that match got so out of hand that it was a riot. They had police officers holding the fans back, and it was loud in there. I'll never forget that. I mean, 16 years old and still, we're talking years ago when, and that's still top of the line. I like the Mankind being tossed off the cage because that had not been done.
Yep.
I mean, when Shane McMahon did it, he landed into an airbag.
Yeah.
Mankind did not land in no airbag. The beginning of the NWO, I mean, how could you forget Razor Ramon showing up? I love that. And of course, Stone Cold taking the title. And if you go further back, watching major upsets, and you have to bring the tapes out because some of that's before my time, but the night Bruno lost his title, and then the night that Bob Backlund, I'm a Bob Backlund fan before he went nuts.
Yeah.
when he was in the 70s and was the champion, he held the title for like 4 or 5 years, but the night he lost his belt, but then Hulkamania started, and that was a big deal. I mean, all through my high school career, that's Hulk Hogan. Ooh, Hulk Hogan. So
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan was one of the only ones I didn't get to see. Every time we'd have tickets to go see Hulk Hogan, we'd get there and there'd be a sign saying that he was hurt or wasn't going to be there or something. So I was about the only one when I was a kid that I didn't get to go see.
That's weird because I know Kelly and I seen Hogan at Madison's Market Square Arena. Yeah, that's what it was in Indy. Probably a dozen times. So that's weird that you guys always missed him.
Yeah, we went there 3 or 4 times, and he was supposed to be there, and he was never there, not one time.
Wow.
We always got front row or second row seats too, and but they'd offer some money back. But of course, Chris was 6 or 7 years old, and my other son was 3, and they didn't want to leave. They wanted to.
Well, no, of course not. Wrestling's wrestling, whether you got the star there or not.
I know one time they had it was supposed to be Savage and Hogan. Instead, they had Beefcake and Hogan in the main event.
Beefcake and Savage.
Well, excuse me, Beefcake and Savage, yeah.
And Miss Elizabeth was with Savage.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, was she was Savage or was she was Beefcake? So I think that's when she was supposed to be when they were feuding, and she was.
Yeah, it might have been.
I think she was with supposed to have been with Hogan, but she was with Beefcake that match.
So we went to a show once down there that she was with Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire, and Dusty was taking on Savage and Queen Sherry, and that's why they brought in Miss Elizabeth, because Sherry got the interfering, and Elizabeth went in there and yanked her off the ropes, and of course the crowd went nuts. And
one of the segments that stand out for me growing up was when Roddy Piper attacked Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, I just watched that the other day at the Coconut.
Yeah, with the coconut.
Yep.
That was really. I mean, that the Piper's Pit, especially early on, not the older Piper Pits, but the
No,
early.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
They were just so raw and well, they really hadn't been done before. So I mean, it was pretty cool.
Dalton Williams, Marcus is the man, the greatest fan of pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's Justin Myers, former champ at NGW. He lost his title to Jason Levi in a hardcore match, the last show they had. Justin Myers, I've seen him since he was a kid, literally a kid. He's come a long way over the years.
I don't know. Have we seen him yet, Dad? I don't think.
I think we did see Myers somewhere.
Have you been to any? I think he wrestles NEW Shelbyville.
Now we have.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we seen him at.
I knew we'd seen him somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the only two shows that I'm aware that he works for.
Yeah, we seen him there.
Chris Chaos, thoughts on Original Sins versus
Well,
Bulletproof
I don't know
Posse?
if I've ever seen the Original Sins take on the Bulletproof Posse. No, that'd be good. I mean, I'm picturing that in my head. That'd be an outstanding show, but I don't think I've ever seen that.
Bruce McGorr says second greatest.
Second greatest what, Bruce?
Marcus, later this year we'll have Indiana Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'll let you know the date. You'll definitely want to be there with who's going in.
All righty, sounds good. Get with Kelly too. She's actually my social director. So she's my driver and everything. She's the one with the calendar. So
I'm the same way because I can't hardly drive. So Amanda drives me everywhere. So work around her work schedule.
I'm gonna put you on the spot, but and I know it's hard to come up with one or two. So if you,
I think I ever know what this question is. So go ahead.
Some of your favorite independent matches that you've seen.
Oh, matches. Okay.
And why?
Well, like I said, if you count Bruiser and Mojo, independent boy, oh my. Yeah, Kelly does everything. And she literally does. Well, I did like seeing Blake versus IK3. And of course, that was a death match. It was last year's Don Basher Memorial Night 1. That's the only actual death. Actually, I've seen two death matches. That was outstanding. Anything with Blake Money Right in it, just about anymore. Him and Dax, I hate Juwan Thomas, and like I've told you, he's doing his job if he pisses off a guy that knows how it works. But those guys, man, I'll have to get back with you on that.
Okay. I know it's a tough question. I know. What do you if you can explain it, because I don't know if I can. So it's gonna be what do you love about pro wrestling?
I just like to see, and then you guys give me a paper wanting to know how I like independence versus the big time. I don't watch that. Like I said, I might watch a WWE pay-per-view every so often after I see, unless it's one of the major ones. Like this past one, Hell in a Cell, I read the write-up on it. I'll go see that match. But that being that close, and like I said, you get a crowd going, and those men or women are fighting their heart out, and your heart's a pounding, and you're on the edge of your seat, and you do that. Oh, he almost pinned him. Oh, he almost pinned him. And yeah, that's what I like about independence, especially now since a lot of people know who I am. I mean, I never dreamt that it would ever happen. Yeah. I mean, seriously, and me going around, Kelly going around all these shows, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we seen you. Hey, we see him. PT Hustler, if you ever talk to him, he's the first one to freak out with that. Because we were in Lafayette one night, and the very next night they were in Indy, and there we are. We walked into the Steak and Shake at PT's over there, and his mouth dropped. And Don Basher was surprised we did the run-in like we did, and he'd give me a hard time about it because I think he didn't want me going to other places. But yeah, people recognizing us because we were other places. I mean, we love that. So,
yeah.
What is your favorite Blake Money Right moment? Tina Don.
Well, it has to be that IK3 match. And then he took my camera. I mean, I have
Yeah.
I have a picture of that. He signed it. I got to get Richard Trisdale to sign it because he took the photo of him photographing DNA. I mean, that was scary at the moment. From since he goes out and rips everybody's cards up and throws their water on the ground, kicks her popcorn bag. It's like, okay, I hope I get the camera back
Yeah,
the way I gave it to him.
I'm not gonna lie, that was exactly what I thought too. I was like, I hope he don't break that camera.
Well, Richard said, Richard, the guy, the ringside photographer, I looked at him and said, I may need to talk to you about buying a camera here in a minute, Dick. It's like, because depending on what he does with that. But yeah, that IK3 match at Basher Memorial #1. Oh, and also Blake versus Jake Oman at the Thunder and Blunder.
Yes, that was a
I
real
mean,
good
that
match.
was, oh man.
that was
I've
awesome.
seen Jake and Blake a lot, but that
To
right
me, that
there,
match to me, that match is right up there for match of the
oh yeah, it should
match
be.
of the year so far.
Yep,
See, I
definitely.
forget more than I remember. I've seen so much, but yeah, that Blake and Jake match at Thunder and Blunder too, that was wow.
And I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you said you mentioned the Hell in a Cell. You was probably talking about the Cody match.
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you? What'd you think?
I thought it was real good. I thought Cody did very well for a man who was very injured.
Yep.
I also give it to Seth Rollins who helped him with that because if Seth didn't want to be the way Seth was, then Cody
Yeah.
could be in bad shape today for it.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like bringing out the bull rope and some of the callbacks. I thought it was an excellent match.
Oh yeah,
Seth Rollins is a good heel.
yeah. He used to
Oh
wrestle around. I never seen him around here. He was Tyler Black, wrestled for IPW, and I only went to one of their shows. I seen Dean Ambrose, John Moxley.
Yep.
He was at that in the main event. I guess that's another one of those a good memory because it was a fans bring the weapons match. And the funniest part about that was John Moxley, and I couldn't tell you who he took on that night, but somebody brought one of them big long summer sausages. And he took that and hauled off and hit that kid and busted it in half. Then he grabbed it and bit the end out of it and spit it at him. And it's like, oh man. So anytime there's a fan bringing the weapons match, I bring in a summer sausage. So just be prepared because
That wasn't an IPW there in
Yep.
Indy where we saw Moxley that night.
we seen Moxley that night. I can't remember for sure who he wrestled. I want to say it was one of the I don't know if it was. I think it was David Chris.
Dave Davidson,
It could have been Dave Davidson, but I thought it was Jake Chris.
it
Brother.
could have been because they
That's what I
wrestled
thought.
in building.
And then
And, Brian,
also on that card, Daniel Bryan
Okay.
wrestled. Chris, can you help me with his name?
Drake Younger.
Drake Young.
Blake Younger, there's another one.
Yeah, they wrestled there. It was a real good show.
They're like the Boys and Girls Club or something like that.
It was a little building.
Okay.
I don't think it was a Boys and Girls Club. It was an indie.
I know. I took my son down there because IPW used to run first Saturday of the month, and so did Hoosier Pro Wrestling in Columbus. And Jerry Wilson and me go. Jerry Wilson. There used to be a guy that ran a website. It was called Indiana Pro Wrestling, and on that website, they started posting my pictures just out of the blue. Send me your pictures because I was traveling around. And I met Jerry Wilson because he seen him on there, and he came up to a show in Indy, introduced himself, says, "Hey, come down to Columbus." And that's how me and Jerry Wilson. So anytime there was a show that I went to wrestling, we'd go to Columbus versus, Greg Carey, I think's that guy's name.
Yeah, Salvation Army is where that was, Chris.
Yeah.
Gar put that up. It was a Salvation Army building where they wrestled in Indy. At least the show we went to.
Yeah, the Hoosier Pro Wrestling ring is the one that Buck uses now.
Yeah.
Jerry Wilson bought that off Jerry Lawler.
Yep.
And Jerry Lawler's actually wrestled in that ring that they use at Warrior Pro. And I could be wrong, but I think Hogan might have been in it at one time too.
Warrior Pro has a big show coming up this weekend. Looking
We're
forward to
ready.
that.
We're ready.
This one, something that you don't like about pro wrestling?
Well, I got to thinking about this. I don't like non-title matches. If you're the champion, you're in a singles match, you defend your belt. But I understand more because Joey puts on weekly shows.
Yep.
So, the thing normally is you got to defend it in 30 days. So I guess I get that now. Somebody explain that. Well, he runs monthly, because everybody else normally runs a monthly show.
Yep.
I don't like triple threat matches with the title unless it's an elimination match. I do not think that if champion does not get pinned, he should not lose his belt. That's why they should do an elimination. Like, okay, the first pin, you're out. Now the last two, it's the last pin should be the champion. I thought I had some more of that. Let me see. Chris gave me a list. Oh, okay. If you're going to go, WWE needs to go back down to 4 or 5 major pay-per-views a year and stop this monthly, because all it's doing is a continuation of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
They need Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and maybe Money in the Bank. But then once somebody wins the Royal Rumble, well, quit screwing with the title shot, because by the time between the Royal Rumble and the WrestleMania, now it's a triple threat. Now it's a 4. It's like, well, what was the point of the Royal Rumble if the guy in the Royal Rumble doesn't? And the same with the Money in the Bank. Last year, or was it the year before, Otis won it.
Yeah.
Well, Otis lost it.
Yeah.
And then it was the Miz. It's like, well, you got to quit that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But screwing with those matches, and that's what I hate about it.
Let's see here.
Oh, there's one right here, Dad.
Okay.
Chris Chaos, top 5 tag team matchups you hope to see this year.
Well, of course, Chris, I want to see you and Ruthless Domination. See, now you threw me on the spot. Now I got to really dig in. I'd like to see the Bulletproof Posse and the highlight reel. That ought to be interesting.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Let me go to TJ's. The original Sins, they used to train at the Dub too, and those guys have come a long way since when we first seen them. I'd like to see them take on the highlight reel, because those guys did wrestle together at one time, but the highlights were still in their rookie year. And the Sins weren't that far out of their rookie year, I don't think. And, boy, you'll have to get back with me. I'll have to think. That's not one of them on the spot questions.
And there's a lot of good young talent in the state of Indiana right now.
Oh, yeah, there is.
And then I think you said that Greg was your neighbor.
Yeah, Greg Smith's my neighbor.
Says his friend at work wrestled in the LWF under the name KC Cooper.
What's LWF stand for, Greg? Do you remember?
LWF.
KC Cooper. That name's. No, I don't know. Do you know what his shoot name is, Greg? What his real name is? I might know him that way too.
Landmark.
Oh, yeah. I remember Landmark, but I don't think I was ever at any of those shows.
Favorite wrestling promotion, and for example,
I can't do it.
Can't do it?
No,
No,
we've been to 14 different.
I'm not talking about independent. I was talking about more like NWA, AWA,
Oh,
World Class.
okay. Well, we can go that route. I liked NWA. I really liked AWA, to be honest with you. 80s AWA was outstanding. Crusher, I think Vern Gagne.
Yep.
You got to see those guys intermingle with the guys from Indianapolis too. Some of Bruiser's talent. Bruiser Brody. Got to see Bobby Heenan. He was in the AWA. Bobby Heenan actually started in Indianapolis too.
Well, see, that was the thing about Indianapolis. I know a lot of people say independent, and I see they were independent, but they brought in so much AWA talent. I mean, Bruiser Brody was there, John Studd was there, Andre the Giant wrestled there. I mean, to me as a kid, because I started watching wrestling probably 1969, 1970 with my brothers and my dad, and it didn't seem like an independent to me, because back then that was about the only thing I was watching.
That was the only thing, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was awesome. So as a kid, WWA was my favorite, and then of course NWA probably. I liked NWA a little bit better than I did AWA.
Well, the AWA, we got it on local TV. The NWA, I had to wait till I was at my grandmother's because she actually had cable.
Cable, yeah.
So I had to go where the cable was at to see NWA stuff. So I was late. I had more AWA knowledge at the time before NWA ever showed up.
Yeah.
He said his shoot name was Scott Taylor.
Yeah, I vaguely remember Landmark, Scott Taylor, and KC Thunder. I know that name. I remember that name. In fact, I think I have a wrestling poster out in the garage with that name on it. But I don't think I was ever at Landmark. Did that run out of Lafayette, Greg, or do you remember? Because I always remember Basher ran out of Lafayette. BMFX runs out of Lafayette now. And CWF, Central Wrestling Federation, Guy and Sean, they ran out of Lafayette.
These younger wrestling fans are lucky now because of the internet. 'Cause I remember when I was a kid, it was wrestling magazines.
Yeah, I have a ton of them too.
It was always you had to get the wrestling magazine.
Go to the drugstore and either buy it or read it while you're standing there.
Yep. I did that many times.
I remember when I was a kid going to the barber shop with my grandpa, and they would always have all the wrestling magazines in there, and that barber would always let me take one with me.
Oh, that's great.
I'd sit there and read one while we was there, and then I'd pick a different one to take with me so I could read both of them.
That's awesome. Like I said, if I knew about, like I said, Diamond Dan, and I think he ran with Quicksilver, which is Wayne Silver's father, the referee Wayne Silver, and Martin Silver's grandfather. He is a big wrestling. He was trained by Bruiser, actually, Quicksilver. And Diamond Dan Garza, was trained by, give me a minute, Steve Regal. And they ran Pro Wrestling International, and they ran shows, I think it was monthly. If you go on Diamond Dan's YouTube, you can watch all those shows from early Don Basher before the WCWO come out and Logansport. Yes, I have been there, Greg. Now that you said that, I did not realize that's what it was called. But yes, I have been to that Logansport promotion. It's been a while since they've ran, but yes, I remember that.
Every Saturday night at 6:05 on TBS.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I started out with Georgia Championship Wrestling, and of course it turned into
Supreme's a little further down there. I know Eric Drabin. I seen him earlier this year at a River Valley Wrestling, I think is what it was. And I've always been wanting to go down to Supreme, but that's quite a drive, and it's off the interstate quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So, but one day me and Kelly will get to Supreme.
Yeah, we wanted to go watch Rachel Armstrong last week there in Jeffersonville, but just being on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
Dad works for one, and Amanda works, but it's basically a 6-hour trip by the time you get to go there and back.
Right.
It's hard to do during the week.
Yeah. What wrestlers do you miss seeing? Whether they passed away or no longer.
Me and Kelly was talking about this, and I've always said it. I never seen Bruiser Brody in person, and Bruiser Brody died in '88. He was murdered in '88. I'm sad that I never got to see him in person. That guy was hardcore before hardcore was defined hardcore.
Yeah.
Him and Abdullah the Butcher matches. I've never seen Abdullah in person either. Jerry Blackwell, you remember him?
Yep.
Tony?
Yep, Crusher
Big 400-pound guy that can drop kick. Come on now.
Yep.
Yeah, and see, Bruce, I always seen him on. I've never see again that you had to have cable to watch that stuff. But if you go on Diamond Dan's, he's got all his shows on there, and I'll go back to watch some of that. But yeah, Bruiser Brody, Jerry Blackwell, I wish so much I'd seen them, and always wondered if Vince would ever do a Bruiser Brody Hulk Hogan match, if that would have ever happened.
Yeah, I would have said it probably would have if if Brody would have lived.
No, I know Hogan and Jerry Blackwell did wrestle in AWA. They main evented a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jerry Blackwell, 400-pound and can drop kick. I mean, drop kick. He's not just like get his feet off the ground. He can kick you right in the chest. That's how high you get off the ground.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hillbilly Jed. I don't know if Hillbilly Jed can drop kick, but very agile, just like Jed was. I mean.
Yeah, Blackwell was very underrated.
Yeah.
Very underrated. I agree with you.
I really like watching Hillbilly Jed as well.
Yeah, I've known Jed for quite a while.
Did you get to see much world class wrestling?
Oh yeah, Fritz, Von Erichs, is that the? Oh yeah.
Yep.
There used to be a show on TV called Pro Wrestling This Week. You remember that?
Yep.
Todd I know Bonnie Blackstone was one, and her husband was the host, Joe Pedicino,
Yep, Joe
and they
Pedicino.
would run down the weekly independents basically, and then of course World Class they started running stuff on cable again. You go my grandmother's house in Lafayette, get on the cable. Yeah, a lot of that. Oh yeah, the Von Erichs and the Freebirds, that feud right there. See, there's another feud right there.
That's one of the greatest feuds of all
Yeah.
time, most definitely. Yeah.
Back when Michael Hayes was skinny.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he's the only one living out of those Freebirds. Well, Jimmy Garvin, but Jimmy Garvin at the time wasn't
No, he
a
wasn't.
Freebird. He was actually wrestling David Von Erich. They had their big feud there in WCCW.
Incredible what happened to that Von Erich family.
Oh yeah, you watch any video, it's sad. I've watched several of them, and
They're
just
doing a
how
movie.
almost suicide. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
But
They're going to do a mainstream movie on that.
I heard that, and
I just seen it. I think
think
it's going to
somebody
be.
said was going to be part of that. Was it Dylan Bostic? Surely that's not who I'm thinking.
I know there's a mainstream actor that's going to be a part of it,
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I can't think of his name now.
and I think it's going to be called the Iron Claw.
He was the what's that guy's name?
I just seen it the other day too.
Yeah.
It's the dude that was in White House Down and
Was it him?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a real popular guy, but I can't think of his name now.
Yeah, I can't either. I just seen it the other day.
He was in the 21 Jump
Street.
Street movies with Jonah Hill, but I can't think of the guy's name.
Now I'm
he's
waiting
gonna
on
be-
somebody to type that in and let us know who it was.
I actually just saw something about it earlier.
Marcus, what would you tell people who don't go to independent shows why they should go to independent shows?
Well, for one, for the price you can get one ticket at WWE, you can take your whole family.
Yep.
You can sit really close to the ring. It's an experience you won't get. I mean, because you got wrestlers come out during intermission, you get an intermingle with them. You don't get that in the big ones. And if you go enough, the storylines, you just fall in love with it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, if you get a good crowd and a good storyline going, and you can set front row, and you can tap hands with every face that walks out there, and sometimes fan participation depend. You know, I see a lot of chops going on anymore where the fans get to smack somebody. And, you won't see Roman Reigns holding up, Brock Lesnar here, smack him in the chest. You won't see that. So
what other? I mean, even
That's who it is. Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
I knew somebody coming through for us.
What other form of entertainment can you take a family of four to?
That's
at that
right.
price? I mean, you can't do it at the movies.
No.
I mean, how expensive the movies is, and then you add concessions, and all the wrestling promotions have concessions, and they're real reasonable also. So I mean, I wish more people would give independence a shot, especially people that sit at home and watch wrestling on TV.
Right.
I mean, cause don't get me wrong, I watch everything on TV. I watch
Yeah, I heard that about you. I hear you watch it every day.
I watch it every day. And I just got done watching two. I'll watch Raw in a little bit. I just got done watching two old episodes from 1985 NWA.
See, and I was to get prepared and get mentally. I've been watching old Bruiser stuff. If you have Peacock, you get the Madison Square Garden shows from the 80s.
Yeah, there was some favorite.
Watching that stuff, yeah.
Hey, Dad, what did you watch Saturday after you got home from the DCCW show?
I replayed the DCCW. I watched it again, and not only that, I watched it again today.
Because he called that day, he goes, I just got done rewatching it. He said the picture's real good and everything.
I watched it again this morning.
We were worried about the internet because we got to the park and I couldn't get no internet signal. And then we used somebody's iPhone and used their hotspot. And I couldn't believe how good it worked.
Yeah, it was wonderful. We watched it here.
What was strange, we just did that car show downtown and used Comcast. Internet had no problem with all the big buildings. There, no problem. We get out to the park and it wouldn't work.
Wow.
That was really strange. But
yeah, we were going to just record it, and then we got lucky and we tried it with the phone and done a little test, and it seemed like it was working. So we said we'll give it a shot.
Watched it here, and it was fine.
Here's one again. I know you don't want to upset anybody, but It's just your opinion. If you want to give it, if you don't, that's fine. On the independent scene, because you've seen even more people than I have, and Chris has, in your opinion, should be stars at the next level.
Well,
And it's hard, I know, because when you
yeah.
see these guys all the time, you could become a little biased.
Well, Shane Mercer definitely could go big time. I really think.
Oh, how he's not signed already, I don't know.
And I really feel Dex and the highlight reel guys will. You just got to give them time. Rachel will. She's still, she's good. She's still got a lot. Don't take me wrong, Rachel. You're doing outstanding, but I think there's a lot more out there.
And for her only being in the business just
Yeah,
around a
she's done
year,
fabulous.
it's unbelievable.
And I PM'd her after watching her win the key to the city. It says you need to get a T-shirt designed. You need to get an 8x10 made, and you need to open a merch table because I guarantee you will make money off that.
Oh yeah,
Because remember DCCW, those people were going nuts for her.
yep.
And I really think she's got a strong fan base, and I think she can capitalize on that.
Yeah, a guy I work with run his family and some friends, and there's probably about 10 of them, and came to that show, the Bearcat Rumble, and all they wanted to talk about was, after the show was over, was Rachel.
Yeah. We had kids when she came out in intermission, and they were just swarming her.
Yeah.
And it's like she needed a bodyguard on top of that because she's little, and a crowd could take her over in no time. I have a feeling. And
oh yeah.
But yeah, those kids, especially those kids, they were just on her like, yeah.
We had her. She was on the show last week, and now next one we're going to try to get Crowley to come on.
Good one. I've seen her a lot of places.
She's one of my favorite, but we had made a decision. We wanted Rachel to be the first female wrestler we'd had on, so we was waiting for Rachel to get back in town from Germany and stuff.
And if you ever get a chance, I think Logan would be good too if you can ever get it worked out.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites also. I like Logan a lot also.
Yeah, when Aaron came on, he mentioned Logan. I was like, yeah, and she goes, I don't like talking about myself. But yeah, we'll try to get her on too because we like watching her.
Yeah, that's one thing Rachel needs to work on is her mic skills and stuff. But she's still got time. She's young.
I've noticed she's starting to scream more through her matches. I don't know if that's the term you're using, but she's not quiet now through matches. She gets worked up and yells, and
she's starting to show more emotion. And
you
definitely got to do that. She hit JKO with a forearm yesterday to start off that match. It was outstanding. I mean, it was outstanding, and it was kind of out of nowhere too. Wasn't expecting that, so it was very well placed.
Right.
Start of that match. So I think the highlight reel are outstanding. The only thing I work with them, I don't see them making it like the WWE or something because of their size. Vince is hung up on size, so unfortunately for him. But I think
Vince might not be around too much.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Who knows what's going to happen with that?
I'll believe it when I see it. Tag teams, and again, I don't want to make nobody upset. And if they get upset, I'm a big boy. But a highlight reel, I think, just because of chemistry and being brothers and being twins, I just think they're outstanding.
Yeah, they are, and they've come along. They've only been doing it since 2019, I think. They're early on, like their third year, but yeah, they've come a long way. And
I think they was in that last class of Bashers, weren't they? Or
I think they were the season before.
Okay, all right.
I think.
And Dex was after them, wasn't he? Because I think Dex was.
Dex was in the last one. Okay. Basher always runs his rookies normally through a battle royal at Greensburg, and he did that. I know the highlight reel guys was in that, and I don't think there's anybody else in that group. I'll have to look at them pictures that's doing it now.
And Dex has got the size. Maybe needs a little bit more weight, but he's got the size. He's that 6'1", 6'2",
and he's athletic, man.
Yeah,
so athletic. Yeah.
Yeah, they had that scaffold match and him jumping from the mat to the top of that.
Yeah,
and just one leap. It's like, wow.
He's got that. He's got a natural charisma too. I think that helps him a lot, personality wise. I still think that he could be a little bit better on a mic, but that'll come. Now, Blake Money Wright, on the mic, and he's got that kind of old school wrestling feel to him, I think. And I love Blake also.
And he can play both sides of the fence. He's good as a heel and as a face. So
good technician too. Yeah, he's really good too. I hope all them guys get an opportunity to make their dreams come through. Whatever you know, what their dreams are.
What's been cool is just with last August was our first show we done where we actually went and done the commentary.
Yep.
And just to see everybody's progression and how much they've improved from then to now, it's unbelievable. I think the first time we saw Rachel, it was her third match.
Yeah.
And just from now to then, there ain't no comparison.
I agree.
Same way with Dutch Boy Platinum. Dutch Boy from the first time
those guys Dutch
to now.
Beaver,
oh my goodness.
I love watching Dutch Boy because he is so physical. I mean, he's outstanding, and
Logan Myers, he's another one.
Yep.
Yeah, Logan Myers and Beeve, really, the match that really, I mean, I liked him before, but that match he had with Blake Money Wright, they had a match. Was that was on a regular show, wasn't it, Chris?
I think so.
Because his family was there, and they went outside the ring, and he was on top. I guess Blake Money Wright had him on top of his chopping him.
Yeah, that was the veterans show.
Veterans show.
Okay, I was at that.
Yeah. Marcus was at that one.
That one there, I think to me, that's when he turned. I think he turned the corner. Beeve did that match, and after that, to me, it was outstanding. That was a real good show, also.
You have anything else, Dad?
I think it went through mine. Have you got anything?
I think we went through pretty much most of that list. Well, you did have a question here. What is your top 5 matches?
Oh, see, there we go again.
Yeah.
See, that's going to have to be another day because I'm going to have to work on it.
Oh yeah, them.
If you're going to go, okay, I can tell you that Kelly and I seen a WCW event at the Coliseum at the Fairgrounds, and it was Ricky Steamboat versus Brian Pillman in a cage, and that was a lot of 2 really close 3 counts. That whole match was just wonderful. It's supposed to be a tag team match, so Stone Cold was there. Well, Steve Austin was there, the Hollywood Blondes, but Ricky Steamboat's, and I don't know if it was Dean Douglas or I can't think of his name. Can't remember, but Steamboat's partner didn't show up, so they did a coin flip, and Pillman won it. And those guys put on a main event. It wasn't even the main event. I mean, outstanding.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the riot of '85. I mean, I'm still wanting somebody to start a riot. I keep telling people you need to start a riot somewhere. I don't care where it's at. Of course, now everybody's going to hate me because I'm telling everybody to start a riot. But
start a riot, yeah, you'll be canceled.
Up for you, Bruce. Start a riot.
Do you have in your mind or and there's no wrong answer on this, a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers who you think in your mind?
My favorites?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you'll have to put the Road Warriors on one head because I was them, Hogan, Flair, and see, I like Dusty Rhodes, but I wasn't, a big mark of Dusty Rhodes. Stone Cold, I guess I'll do him.
Yeah, it's tough because so many names come to mind. You could think about Steamboat or Roddy Piper, and there's others. There's a bunch of great ones. A lot of people like The Rock. So
Shawn Michaels. A lot.
Shawn Michaels does good work, but I've never really been a fan of his.
Undertaker, for what.
Well, there you go. You put him on there. I seen Undertaker the year he debuted, shortly after the Survivor Series. Was in India. It was probably January, February. He was even then he wasn't anybody, and he put goosebumps on me. And he's only probably in the WWE 2 months, if that. He took on Tugboat, which went on to be Typhoon.
Yeah.
In my opinion, as far as a character goes, he's the greatest character of all time.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anybody else that would surpass him, character-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Undertaker's wonderful.
Undertaker would be up there in mine.
Yeah, he is mine now. You brought him up. See, I just had to just be thought about it.
Is there a wrestler, and I've had one of mine that I thought was really good. He wasn't great on the mic, but I thought he should have went a lot further than he did. Never really made it. I mean, never was really a star. But you thought in your mind, hey, he should be a star.
My grandson says, hey. You want me to think of a name?
I'll give you mine. Mine was Brad Armstrong. I really like Brad Armstrong from the Armstrong family, and he never really went anywhere.
Tracy Smothers is kind of in that boat. I mean, he was a WCW tag champ, but I think he could have gone further with that. I know he wrestled in ECW, but that was a whole different gimmick for him.
See, the guy I always liked was Dean Malenko.
Yeah, see, but Dean falls in that small.
Yeah, that small.
But Eddie Guerrero was small too, and he made it. But and see, now I have to think about that.
But Guerrero though, he made it more because of his charisma than he ended up making it because of his wrestling ability. Not that his wrestling, don't get me wrong, he was a top-notch wrestler, but his charisma, when they got his charisma to shine through, that's when he went through the roof.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he had over Malenko too. Malenko wasn't great on the mic.
Well, that's the thing,
And he was small, so he had two things going against him.
See, that's the thing with Road Dogg. He's an Armstrong. Brad was 10 times the wrestler that Road Dogg is in the ring, but Road Dogg could speak on the mic and had charisma.
I guess, another one be Owen Hart. If he had lived, I think he would have.
Yeah.
He was on his way up. I really believe he'd been.
Yeah, his athleticism was ahead of that time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, Dad, you have anything else?
No, I don't. I do want to off there. I want to talk to Marcus about something. But...
All right. Well, I want to think. You have anything, Marcus? Any final thoughts or anything?
I think that's it. Sorry it took so long to get this going, but what is this, like 8 months in the works? But
what shows you gonna hit this weekend? I know Warrior Pro.
We'll be at Warrior Pro Sunday. Saturday's my daughter-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday, Jess. So we won't be going anywhere Saturday. I don't know about the dub on Friday. I don't know yet.
I know we're going Sunday. I know I won't be able to go to the dub Friday because Amanda has to work, so I won't have a vehicle.
All depends on how hot it is because the dub gets warm.
It's supposed to be pretty warm, I think.
I haven't been in there when it's been real warm. I've been in there when it's been a little cold.
We went, funny, one of the shows we went to in 2020, it was, probably 10 below zero outside. Happened to be on the side that Monica Richardson, where Pete's wife sits over there where they come in off the entrance. I was sitting actually right next to the entrance. Kelly and I are in there we were just freezing.
Yeah.
And then we've been in there where you could bake a turkey if you had the time. I mean,
we did that show and we sat by the door.
That Thunder Blunder 2.
Yeah, Thunder Blunder 2. That's where we was filming from, and it was probably 20 degrees out, but the wind was blowing, and it was probably below zero. And they
kept opening that door.
And we froze. Oh man, froze.
Now he's got another one coming up on July 2nd. Did you know that?
Yeah, I won't be here. I'll be out of town. I'll be in Chicago.
Yeah, we won't be there either. We had prior plans.
Yeah, I already had prior plans as well. Yeah, I actually made the poster. I made that poster for him.
Oh, cool. He's got some good matches lined up. Yep. He's going to do Shane Mercer and Blake Money Wright, which was a match that I actually suggested, and now I won't be able to see it.
I worry about that date. I hope he does good.
Yeah.
July 4th weekend, I think it's a tough weekend.
They're going to run a show at the park in Sheridan, Indiana on the 4th.
Yep.
That is Blake and Jake Ullman's show.
Yep.
And that's a free one. WCWO will be at the park in Lebanon at the end of July.
Yeah,
that'll be a close show because that's only 20 minutes down the road. I mean, that'd be like my backyard practically. But
I think we might go there and do a commentary
for the one in Lebanon.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to that one.
The only issue we got there is about power. So we're going to see if we may patch into their, because they're going to have a generator for their
for the PA system. So we might be able to.
we're going to maybe do that. We don't know again about internet. We'd have to go down there and just try it, a hotspot or whatever.
At the
Maybe-
very worst, we'll record it and then air it the next day or something.
Yeah.
We've done that down there in Lafayette. That it done pretty good that way.
BMFX show.
Yeah.
I
We
know,
couldn't get no internet there at all.
and I don't know if you're aware, they probably told you, but that Warrior Pro, not this one, but the next one in July, it's going to be on a Saturday. It's going to
Yeah, and that's going to be outside too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's at the
Yeah.
fair.
What day is that on? Do you remember? 23rd?
July like 20.
July 23rd.
Yeah, I think July 23rd.
No, we won't be there that weekend. We got plans. We'll have the baby or young grandkids that weekend, I think.
I think it's 23rd. Yeah, Saturday 23rd.
Yeah, we're going to be there as long as we can get internet. We'll be live broadcasting. If not, we'll record it and put it out the next day. Most places we can get internet, but some places if they don't have the variety or the Comcast, it's hard for me to get internet.
That place in Lafayette, we can't even get a phone signal in there. So
Yeah, we couldn't do anything either.
All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank Marcus for joining us as well. Really enjoyed this conversation. Dad, you have anything?
Nope. Everybody have a good night.
Don't forget, we'll be live later tonight at 11 with GSR Gonzo Sports Room talking sports. And we're live every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern with our sports betting show. We've been hot giving out winners, so come check us out. And then we'll also be at Warrior Pro Wrestling this Sunday. Doors open at 2. Wrestling starts at 3 there in Danville, Indiana.
you don't want to miss that.
It'll be it's going to be another good show.
Should be real good.
And then I think, that's all for this month.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Brayton Lee. I've never seen him.
Oh, he's good. It's been a while since I've seen him, but he's good. He used to work at the Dub a lot too.
Did he?
I think we saw him wrestle in high school, but
Yeah.
But we've never seen him do the pro wrestling. All right, thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.